Alright, so you have the data you want to visualize, you've asked yourself the 3 key questions, and you've gone ahead and visualized it using an appropriate chart type. Well, you're not quite finished yet, as the chart formatting still has a role to play. Chart formatting should be used to eliminate noise and facilitate understanding. And to highlight that, let's take a quick look at this example showing advertising trend by medium. Now, notice that we are trying to show a trend over time, so a line chart is the right chart type. So why is it so hard to understand what's going on? I think this would actually have a hard time passing the 10-second rule. Well, let's take a look at the formatting errors that are adding noise instead of clarity here. A, the chart border and grid lines are more distracting than they are useful. I mean, they're not really adding any value here. B, the vertical axis labels are not only hard to read with all those zeros, but they also lack context. I mean, what are we looking at here? Is it number of ads? Is it ad engagement? Is it ad spend? Who knows? C, adding data labels to every single point on the orange and green lines not only makes it impossible to focus, but it actually makes it really hard to read them. D, having a legend here is necessary to know which color corresponds to each line, but it also forces you to look back and forth from the chart to the legend to try to figure out which is not ideal. And finally, E, the years on the horizontal axis go into the future without any explanation. And my guess is that you didn't even notice. Now, keep in mind that the present, as far as the data is concerned, goes up to 2020. So, quick pro tip here to avoid formatting like this one that really does more harm than it does good. Format charts manually instead of using Excel's preset chart styles and quick layouts, which honestly, I'd say are moderate at best. Overall though, this is a cluttered chart. But if we take the time to consider the formatting to eliminate noise and facilitate understanding, then we can turn it into a very clear chart. What do you think? Does this pass the 10-second rule? So, here are some of the formatting pro tips that we've applied here. Number 1, remove the chart border and grid lines. They're not adding any value. Number 2, format the axis labels clearly. So now you can clearly see that we're looking at billions of dollars on the y-axis, and we're looking at years from 2012 to 2020 on the x-axis, and then a forecasted period up to 2024. Number 3, add context with the chart title. So now we know that we're looking at advertising spend by medium. Number 4, use color and labels strategically. So you'll notice that by adding the label for each series using the same color at the end of each line, instead of using the legend, it becomes really clear to identify which is which. Number 5, create a visual order. By muting the color on the bottom 3 lines, we're really highlighting the top 2 series, and the dashed lines really create a visual sense of a forecast. And finally, number 6, make sure that the story is clear. Again, always go back to the 10-second rule. And just by looking at this chart now, we know that internet has overtaken TV in terms of marketing spend, and that gap is expected to keep growing. So what's the takeaway here? How do we know how to get from A to B? The key is to make sure that every element that takes up space and is included in the visual is actively improving its understanding. If it doesn't, well, then it can go. Or to put it in better words, perfection is achieved not when there's nothing more to add, but when there's nothing left to take away.